Good evening. On the world news tonight from Babarbagide Imo Television, first the headlines. Tinubu's intervention not needed in Ondo, Rivers, Fashola. INEC may hold rerun by elections in February, says Professor Mahmoud. 3,963 teachers fail qualifying exams, TRCN. Tinubu behind non-release of Nnamdi Kanu, not judiciary, IPOB lawyer. Port Harcourt refinery ready this month. And on sports, I saw it in him. Coach of English Championship side speaks on why he switched Super Eagles defensive midfielder to number 10. I am Morire Rebila Lawal, the news in detail. A former Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola San, has said that the intervention of President Bola Tinubu is not needed in the ongoing political crisis in Ondo and Rivers State. Fashola argued that despite calls to amend the constitution at different times, it is high time Nigerians amended our ways. He further stated that the constitution is clear on what should be done when situations and the roles to be played by individuals involved. Fashola said this over the weekend at the Nigerian Air Force Officers Mayor's Honorary Members Forum 2023 annual lecture in Lagos. The topic was leadership leading the change. Those inviting the president to act in Ondo and River State, not aware that the president has no constitutional role in these matters. Happily, in our Ondo case, some blue-blood Ondo indigents have stood up to the counter, but they are in obvious minority. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says rerun and by-elections may be held across the country next February. This is according to chairman of the electoral body, Mahmoud Yakubu, who spoke at a meeting with political parties. With regard to the by-elections, you may recall that in my recent address at the swearing-in of new resident electoral commissioners, RECs, which was combined with our last quarterly meeting with the RECs nationwide, I made commitment that the Commission will conduct elections to fill vacancies in the National and State Assembly constituency, the INEC chief told the Monday gathering at the Commission's office in Abuja. The Commission is looking at the first week of February 2024 in just a little over 1 month to conduct both the rerun and by-elections. No fewer than 3,963 teachers who sat for the November 2023 Diet of the Professional Qualifying Examination for Teachers across the country, organized by the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, failed. The examination is conducted by the TRCN to test the professional knowledge of those in the teaching profession. Speaking with journalists during an interactive session on Monday, the registrar of the TRCN, Professor Josiah Ajiboye, who gave the breakdown, said that the council will continue to work towards the improvement of the teaching profession in Nigeria. A total of 15,753 sat the examination in 38 centers across the country. Out of these, we have 10,636 that passed, which is about 72.9% of those that failed are 3,963. Ajiboye also noted that other candidates were absent while others had results cancelled due to examination malpractices. It was reported that the November diets commenced on November 23, 2023 and ended November 25, 2023. Special counsel to Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Aloy Ejimako, Monday alleged that President Bola Tinubu is behind the non-release of the Biafra agitator and not the judiciary. Quoting Section 174 of the Constitution, Ejimako said Tinubu can direct the Attorney General of the Federation to stop Kanu's trial because the buck stops at a stable. Posting on X, Ejimako wrote, "It's the President, not the court, that is holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu." According to Section 174 of the Constitution, says that Attorney General can stop any criminal trial initiated by him against anybody. Tinubu can direct the AGF to stop the trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ejimako also faulted the claims of One Nigeria, alleging that Igbos are being punished for voting the Labour Party LP, Peter Obi. Don't forget that Indigo also voted for Shagari, OBJ, Yar'Adua, Gej and Atiku, and Yoruba voted for Obasanjo. Ijo voted for Gej, and Hausa Fulani voted for Shagari, Yar'Adua and Atiku. The end of December timeline for mechanical completion of the Port Harcourt Refinery Company remains sacrosanct, says the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. We have said from time that by the end of December, the mechanical completion of the refinery will be completed. Yes, we're still maintaining that nothing has changed. NPC Chief Communications Officer Olufemi Shonaye told Economic Confidential. Shonaye had on November 6, 2023, assured that the NNPCL was optimistic about the completion of the rehabilitation this month. He said that owing to the assurance the contractors gave the oil giants, nothing had so far altered the completion date. He added what the contractors said is that all things working well, the refineries will be working in December and January. And as NNPC, we are going around on every milestone. We are pushing out information. So we are working on that December-January date. You know, I'm not the contractor. My own is to report. If anything changes, I will defer to you that this is going to happen. But in terms of the timeline is still on course. Emmanuel Iwayam, the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, emphasized the Igbo commitment's acknowledgement of President Bola Tinubu as a constitutionally elected leader in Nigeria. During an interview with journalists, he underscored the importance of releasing Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the deposed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. While IPOB insists on the illegality of Kanu's continuous detention and advocates for self-determination supported by international laws, including those of the United Nations and the African Union Charter, Nwaya would stress its discussion with Igbo communities, confirming the acceptance of Tinubu as the president. He highlighted Tinubu's potential role in facilitating Kanu's release for fostering peace in the southeast region. He said, as the Igbo leaders, after consultation with my people, we all agreed that there was no reason why Nnamdi Kanu should be incarcerated, no reason why he should be detained. He didn't serve any risk. Rather, his release will help Nigeria and will help the security agencies to differentiate who is a criminal and who is a very honest and dedicated Nigerian. Many criminals hide under the fact that Kanu is in detention and continues to unleash heinous crimes on our people in the southeast. Speaking further, Nwayam said that the sit-at-home order is affecting business in Igbo land and is heavily inflicting hardship on the people, adding that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, normalcy will be restored. The Nigeria Air Force, under the air component of Operation Adenke, has neutralized calls of terrorists in ISWAP's training camp in Bukar Meram, Matel local government area of Borno State. Intelligence sources told Zagazola Makama, a counterinsurgency expert and security analyst in the Lake Chad region, that the airstrikes were conducted on Saturday in the location. Makama quoted the source saying the airstrikes at Bukar Meram were planned and executed based on intelligence reports indicating that insurgents had established a training camp in the village and were converging in an area prior to departing for an attack on troops locations around the Lake Chad area. The sources said that the fighter aircraft acquired and attacked the locations, neutralizing scores of the ISWAP, with only a few survivors seen fleeing the area. They also added that some of the terrorist logistics and other property were similarly destroyed. It was a sad moment last Saturday evening as 3 tenants in Umuahia realized that 4 of their children had allegedly been taken away by their new neighbor who just packed in 3 days earlier. The tenants, all women, were Madam Ngozi Kingsley from Okun Ohafia, LGA, Madam Ifeanyi Uduma of Okun Ohafia, and sister to Ngozi Kingsley and Madam Blessing Peter Obasi from Umuoke Compound, Elugu Owuzu Eda in Ebonyi State, all are traders in Umuahia. According to them, in an interview, the suspect, woman whose identity is yet to be determined, packed into the compound on Thursday, 15th December, as a new tenant, along with another lady suspected to be her sister, friend, or an accomplice. It was discovered that she packed on with only a camp gas, 6-inch small foam, and a smart, with a little bag suspected to be her dressing. It was also noted that while in the house, the 2 miraculous tenants only tied similar wrappers, an indication that they had little clothing with them. Within the first 2 days, they endeared themselves into the heart of the rest of their neighbors as women who love children by playing with them, buying them gifts as well as sending them on errands, and at the time went to buy brooms and other things with 1 or 2 grown-up children that later escaped abduction from the suspect. However, Madam Ifeanyi Udoma, 33 years old, had treated with caution, though not suspecting any foul intentions by the suspect. Udoma said, on one occasion, one of my children came out of the house of the suspect wearing a white cloth with red spots, which she quickly removed from the child and was queried by the suspect why she did so. Moving on to the foreign story. Egypt's incumbent President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has claimed victory in the nation's presidential election, gaining an impressive 89.6% of the vote, according to the Electoral Commission's announcement. Facing off against three lesser-known opponents, el-Sisi dominated the election, with the closest rival securing a mere 4.5% of the vote. The leading opposition candidate, Ahmed Tentawi, withdrew from the race prior to the poll, citing concerns over intimidation and violence directed at his campaign. Throughout the election process, significant national concerns, including Egypt's economic challenges and the ongoing conflict in Gaza, were pivotal themes. El-Sisi, aged 69, initially assumed office in 2014, following his instrumental role in the military's ousting of his predecessor, Islamist President Mohamed Morsi. His subsequent re-election in 2018 and his recent triumph in the polls ensure his leadership until 2029 as per constitutional term limits. Finally, on sports. The coach of English Championship side Leicester City, Enzo Marquez, says he isn't surprised with the performance of Nigerian international midfielder Wilfred Ndidi, who have been moved to a role higher up on the pitch. Nnamdi has responded to the responsibility without much problem, picking up 5 assists and 2 goals for the high-flying side, who are looking really good for an instant promotion back to the English Premier League after relegation last season. Unlike a lot of people who are surprised by the performances of the Nigerian international in an advanced role as opposed to his more defensive responsibility in the past years at the club, Marquez says he knew from the get-go that the 27-year-old would struggle in that role. Against West Bromwich, he gave a fantastic pass for Kanu. He's been doing fantastic movement, he's scoring goals, he's creating chances for his teammates, he's working really very hard. With that sports story, we've come to the end of today's world news from Babagagide Imo Television. Before we go, some headlines. Tinubu's intervention not needed in Ondo, Rivers, Fashola. INEC may hold rerun by elections in February, says Professor Mahmoud. 3,963 teachers failed qualifying exams, TRCM. Tinubu behind non-release of Nnamdi Kanu, not judiciary, IPOB lawyer Ejimako alleges. On sports, I saw it in him. Coach of English Championship side speaks on why he switched Super Eagles defensive midfielder to number 10 role. For update of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Babagagide Imo Television. Can you subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of event and function, please dial the phone numbers streaming on the screen. Thank you for watching. I am Moriri Rabila Lawa. Good evening.